you and get going.
All right, everybody click the
All right,
blue
it looks like we are recording. We are good to go. So I know we have a few market centers on here, some people who may not know me or may not know you, Bill. My name is Matt Billheimer. I'm the team leader here at KW Prosperity in Wayne. And Bill, you're our fearless leader, our OP, and also one half of the Bozwell IOSA group, who had an amazing 2021 and finished strong with approximately 130 million in volume and just under 300 units. So Bill, great job in 2021. And thank you for leading today's call with Vanessa.
Oh man, Matt, I got to bring you around with me more often. It's always a good setup, Matt. Thank you so much for the intro there. You know, I appreciate all that you do. So it is super exciting for me to have this conversation today with our guest, Vanessa Pollock. Vanessa was a truly inspirational piece of our transition into Keller Williams and really embracing culture as part of the value proposition that we give both our team and the world, and how important that is in the process of team building. Just as a setup here before I introduce Vanessa, a lot of agents and teams that I've had the luxury of working with or the pleasure of working with tend to put that culture component as either a byproduct or at the end, right? So they get all these other things in place and then they work on culture, and the culture is maybe like a pizza party or a cocktail hour or something like that. And the truth is, I've come to find out that the vision and the culture really should be the first thing, right? The beginning. And that's why I'm bringing Vanessa on here so early in the year. We're going to be working through on our team masterminds throughout the year, several different pillars of team building. And we specifically chose to put this cultural vision component at the beginning because of how important it is to both an established team or somebody who's looking to grow a team, or even if you're a single agent, let's be honest, this can be a game changer for you as well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest today, Vanessa Pollock. Vanessa, welcome. Thank you so much. Vanessa runs a powerful team here in New Jersey as well. So the information we're going to receive today is perfectly applicable to our market. Vanessa ended up right around 120 million in volume, right? Last year, we were right in that.
I don't want to exaggerate. Yeah, almost 118.
118. So we always say we'll round up, right? 118 million. Phenomenal job on that. Incredible year. We talked about, you know, before this vision component, you were really in that 30 million area. So you've watched this whole thing scale. So before we jump into your philosophy on vision and culture, why don't you just take a minute and tell us a little bit about yourself? Let's get to know you in 2 minutes or less. Who is that?
Well, first of all, thank you, Bill, so much for inviting me. And thank you, Matt, as well. And I just want to thank all, 65 of you who've taken the time to plug into this and be learning based and lean into a topic that, just like Bill said, sometimes is the afterthought, but you're making it a central focus of your day. And my hope is that our hour together, that you'll find one thing here that you can go implement into your business immediately, that will give you a sense of meaning and purpose and give you a clearer sense of vision for why you're in business, and will make a difference for each of you in unique ways. So thank you for tuning in. Look, we were just sharing before we logged on. I grew up in Texas. I married my college sweetheart. He wanted to be on Broadway, so we moved up to New York City 25 years ago. He's ended up being in half a dozen Broadway shows, while I went all over the place from a million different careers when we first got up here, from waitress to bartender, restaurant manager, coat girl, executive assistant, model, like just your normal starving artist trying to figure herself out. And then landed into the real estate industry shortly after our first child was born. We have 3 kids, and I measure my real estate career based on the age of Hudson. And he's 18, you guys. and he moves out in 12 days. It's blowing my mind. But I got into real estate when he was about 8 months old and started off as a rental agent in New York City and was like, nope, that is not my scene. There's too much lying, cheating, and stealing going on around me, and I do not want to be around that. To which my husband said, no, I think you're going to be great at this. And maybe this is an opportunity for you to carry out your mission and vision for your life in an industry where maybe it's a little more needed. I said, okay, maybe. And then one of our best friends had just bought a house, and she said, my real estate agent in New Jersey is hiring an assistant. Maybe instead of a rental agent, you should go work for her. So in a 20-minute interview, I got hired, which, as we all know, is not the model. That is not career visioning. And yet was her assistant for about 8 months and didn't make a dime, but learned a lot. And in that year, kind of earned my master's in real estate, so to speak. But when it became pretty clear that she and I were not in alignment anymore with me as her assistant, I was like, okay, I quit again. And my husband said, no, again, don't quit, don't give up. You've learned so much. You just need to go launch your own business now. So part of my non-compete, I got out of business with her and moved down to a Maplewood office. And that's where I was permitted to continue to be in real estate. And I knew one family in Maplewood, New Jersey. And I got started on my own, and within 90 days, had enough on the sales board for us to be able to start making ends meet, because I hadn't made any money in about a year and a half, and my husband had been staying home with our baby. So got started, and I think like a lot of you, I was a single agent for about 6-7 years and burning the candle at both ends, working 7 days a week, had a second baby, had a third baby, was trying to keep up with family, keep up with real estate, and really didn't know the why, didn't know, other than wanting, of course, to provide for my family, which is in and of itself amazing why. But I knew that there was something more that I needed to be doing through my business, but I didn't know how to do it. And lo and behold, I was introduced to Keller Williams. And I kind of walked in the door to KW with a baby, a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a drinking problem. And I said, here I am, fix me and help my business. And why am I in business? And what should I be doing? And gosh, I need a day off. And that conversation with that team leader 10 years ago helped put me on a path to building a team. I did not start out on team building with the idea of creating this mission and vision that I'm now super passionate about, and I know we're going to get into. But it's a constantly evolving process, right? And when I first came, I wanted to build a team so that I could have more family time. And then I quickly learned about the culture of KW. I learned about the Red Book and how to follow the model. And I learned that there was a higher purpose to business, and I had felt it. And now I knew that there was a way that I could take that purpose and put it into action in my real estate business, and that would help me grow a big business that would then allow me to go give back and make an impact. That was longer than 2 minutes. I'm sorry, Bill.
Beautiful. Hey, I wasn't about to stop that one. So thank you. Yeah, it's a great intro. So that brings us right up here to today, right? And you're able to look back on some of those vision and culture components that you put in. So before we jump in, just from your perspective, for someone who's built a team, and I don't want to steal any thunder from anything you want to give us, but I'm pretty sure in the last couple of years, you've doubled your team size without one recruiting phone call. Would that be correct? Right?
That is correct.
So for somebody who has built a team that's growing at an insane rate, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank that culture, vision? Because they're very intertwined, in my opinion. People try to separate them. But culture, vision, where would you rank that as far as absolutes must if you're going to really build a team and an organization that functions like a team and an organization?
I mean, it's a 10, right? To me, Gary Keller has truly taught us, and Mo Anderson has helped him implement the culture of our company, which is that we focus on the 6 personal perspectives first, which is personal growth, personal development, and becoming the best version of ourselves. Right. And so I think a lot of times people, like you said at the top of the hour, they think culture is a pizza party. But what I have realized is the culture of our company is really digging deep into discovering the best versions of ourselves. How are we wired up to thrive on this planet? And what difference are we supposed to be making? Like what's the call on our life? And when we focus on that, then all of a sudden there's a ripple effect that starts to take place within your team building, within the culture of your organization. So yeah, 10 out of 10. I do think it's the most important thing that you can focus on, because as soon as you put that first, then everything else from a decision-making and a building standpoint gets very simple. Not easy, but very simple, because you're filtering it.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
Right.
I was just going to call on Lisa and see if she agreed.
All right. So how, I mean, in a way you've expressed this a little bit, but if we can apply just that general theory, the fact that it was a 10 to your business specifically, can you maybe break that down for us? How has that been woven into the fabric of your business from before
Absolutely.
and now?
So within the first year of joining Keller Williams, again, remember, I showed up, little kids, drinking problem, hot mess, like knew that I wanted my life to mean something, but had not figured out how to prioritize it or how to organize it yet. And I had the distinct privilege of taking the class Quantum Leap with Mo Anderson. Now, 2 things. If you don't know what Quantum Leap is, it's this brilliant course that Gary Keller wrote that every single one of us needs to take multiple times, if not every single year. And I got to take it with Mo Anderson. And for those of you who don't know who Mo is, she was Gary's first CEO. She, for 10 years, built the company from 1,800 agents to 50,000 agents while she was CEO. The largest growth I think any CEO of the company has had. So I got to go take this amazing class with her. And I realized that I wasn't the wife, mother, woman of faith, and business owner that I wanted to be. And it gave me a lot of amazing insights into who I wanted to be, how I wanted to show up in the world. After taking the class with Mo, then I was able to actually spend time with her at her home in Oklahoma. And spent about a half day with her, where I shared with her my desire really to be a light in the industry, right? And to do things in a way that made a positive impact for my community. And at that point, I was about a $10 or $15 million producer. And she just looked at me and she said, okay, darling, then you just go get on your ALC, lead your culture committee, read all the John Maxwell books, and get your team to $40 million. I was like, okay, I don't even know how to do that, but all right. And going on that journey to do all of those things, it then became pretty clear that it wasn't about the numbers that I needed to hit. It was about who I was becoming along the way, right? And what I really wanted the vision of the business to be and who I wanted to be. So again, going back to the personal growth piece of it, it became pretty clear pretty quickly that the most important thing I could do for my business was to break up with my best friends, Merlot, Cabernet, and Chardonnay, and say, see you later, and really get clear about how I was wired up to thrive in the world and what the best use of my skills would be. So I think so many times we think that culture is about other people, but truly it's about us first. And being aware enough about who we are and leaning into that first and foremost. Because I know that while you said the culture piece came, at about the $30 million mark, I actually look back and see that the clarity of vision and mission came when I finally got real with myself. And like I say, broke up with my best friends and started really striving to be the best version of myself every day. I don't think I answered your question though.
Well, you did, yeah, to an extent, and I'm going to take it even a little bit deeper there, right? So I'm gonna say what then, as that cultural component really became a factor in your business, what did that show up looking like, and how would you describe what the culture looks like now? If
Yep.
what is your team's vision and mission, right?
Yeah.
And
So on that pursuit to get to 40 million, as Mo had challenged me to do, it forced me to really systematize and codify the way I wanted our business to be known, right? And I really had to stop and think about, okay, people aren't hiring Vanessa, they're hiring what I stand for, right? Often people don't hire us, they hire our service and our beliefs and our values. And I realized what I wanted to be known for was care of our clients and community, the best service in our industry out there, and generosity, both locally and globally. So through my journey of really wanting to create a business model and a clear vision, it boiled down to 3 simple words that became our business motto and model. It's care, serve, give. And you know, I wore the t-shirt for you today.
I saw that.
Because that's right. And it's on the mug as well. But it really became a way for me to filter everything through. Is this exhibiting care, service, and generosity in everything that we do as a team? Well, as that began to be implemented, it took on a life where now we'd go by a care, serve, give 1-3-5 as a team. So to answer your question about what we do as a team, and we've done this for years now, and I think it's what's created the gravitational pull into our organization. I think of the 1-3-5 as what is your purpose in life, right? Like, what are you meant to do while you're here on the planet? That's your 1. Your 3 priorities are care, serve, and give. And then underneath each of those are your 5 people that you're going to focus on: self-care, your family care, your team care, your client care, and your community care. And then same with service. Where do I serve? How do I serve my family? How do I serve my team as a servant leader? How do we best serve our clients? And how do we serve the community? And then generosity. Where am I giving personally? How is my family giving back? Right? Where does my team give back? How do we give back on behalf of our clients? And how are we giving to our community? And literally everything that we do as a company, as an organization now, has to show up in one of those categories for it to be in alignment with our vision and mission and who we are. And it creates a culture within the organization of care and service and generosity that shows up the way we take care of ourselves, the way we take care of each other as a team, again, the way we take care of our clients, the community, et cetera, et cetera. And if we're focused on all of those levels of people in our lives with those 3 priorities, then all of a sudden the vision just comes to life in and of itself. And yeah, you're right. We started COVID with 12 people on the team, and we're now close to 25, around 25. I have not had a single recruiting effort because people call and they say, I want to be a part of the Care, Serve, Give mission. I want to be a part of making a difference for this community. And it creates a gravitational pull. And it's in it, having that clarity of vision also is an amazing way for people not only to feel like they're a part of something that's important, but it's a retention tool as well, right? One of my agents has been with me for 11 years, right? She predates Care, Serve, Give, but she's been with me, or once I codified it, but she said, I'm on this journey with you because I know what you stand for. And I have this saying that I heard from a podcast recently: we are married to that mission, all of us, and we date the model. right? Because we need to be able to pivot the model depending on where the market is in any given moment. But we are married to that mission. And my team knows we will not deviate from that. And again, it helps us from decision making that sometimes aren't easy, but are simple when you've got that framework in place.
Yeah, mission first. And imagine what a different conversation that is, and an opening conversation rather than, hey, what kind of leads do you give me? How much is my split, right? All of those things when everybody is in alignment on the main mission. Not to say that those things don't matter, right? And you don't have those conversations, but it's where is the focus? And I love the fact that you break that down in a 1-3-5. I'm going to assume, and you might not, that you have different 1-3-5s, maybe for some other things.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right. Personal. So the majority of people on this call are KW, right? I know there's quite a few people joining us from our new launch, right, which is up in Sussex County in Sparta, and they haven't, especially with COVID, it's been a little slower as far as being able to get these powerful presentations in front of people, which is coming soon. But the understanding and the implementation of the 1-3-5 and the 4-1-1 has been something that we're really now pushing in to roll out. And without that clarity, it would be much harder for you to have those guidelines, that framework, and those guardrails in your decisions. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And all I've done is internalize the KW models and then customize them, right? I've internalized the red book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. We follow that. And then I've customized it to our mission and our vision, even the 1-3-5, right? Like to be able to customize it in this way. And the thing is, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We need to follow the models that we know work and make them then custom to our mission and vision. And then it's like a really powerful combination.
Beautiful, beautiful. There's if you mentioned this, forgive me, the component of your mission too that involves music. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
can you share a little more about that? Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you kind of know how the 1-3-5 of Care, Serve, Give breaks down, imagine, if you will, that the give piece of it is where you give, again, personally, family, team, clients, community. So personally, I always give to KW Cares on every closing. And I want all of you, if you don't know about KW Cares as newer agents to Keller Williams, please, Bill will send you more information. It is our internal Red Cross, and it is an amazing opportunity for us to take care of our KW family in times of unexpected crisis. Then as a family, where do we give? Well, we tithe, right? We very much believe that we should put our faith first. And that's what I love about Keller Williams, is it's a very God family business company. And it's whatever your faith is, right? What I love about this company is its radical inclusivity and how diverse we are. So they're never going to tell you who God has to be to you, but they are going to say, hey, put God first, then family, then business. So giving as a family is a core value for us. Then when we think about our team giving, right? We have all of our marketing dollars. I'd say 95% of our marketing dollars go to local charities, community events, schools, and other initiatives that improve our community. So I'm not going to be on a shopping cart. No offense if anybody's face is on their shopping cart. I would rather give that money to the high school musical and be on their program and know that it helped with costumes and sets and for the kids to have that kind of experience, as an example. Then how we give back on our, in terms of our clients, is instead of a closing gift, we make a donation to the charity of our client's choice. And that's something that we launched years ago called Closing for a Cause. And if you go to closingforacause.org, you're all welcome to use the tool. It's a little tech leverage that is my gift to the industry. I don't make money off of it, and it doesn't cost anybody anything. But that's how we give back. We show our clients that what they're passionate about, we are going to honor. And so we give back, and it's not a lot, but instead of buying a bottle of champagne, which would be off brand for me now, I go give to their charity of choice, right? And then last, how do we give back to the community? So all of this was to get to your question about our music initiative. So what I want each of you to really think about is, when you think about the purpose or the call on your life of where you want to make a difference, this is where you get to put your passion into your business. And so for us, I told you, I'm married to a Broadway actor who's recently joined the real estate team, which is very exciting with Broadway being so shut down the last couple of years. But we're a very musical family, and we wanted to be sure that we made a difference locally by giving back and making sure that every single student in our school district who did not have the financial means to rent a band or orchestra instrument was able to have that instrument and participate in band or orchestra right alongside with every other student in the district. We wanted there to be access for every single child. And so we put the Vanessa Pollock Music Initiative in place over 7 years ago, and it is our passion project and the legacy that we're leaving in our community. And so we fundraise every single year for over 7 years now. And every single year, we're able to make sure that about 120 to 130 students have their instruments for the entire school year. And we also fund music instruction for teacher-nominated high school students who the teachers say just need to take the next step in their musicianship, and not to turn them into musicians, but to make them feel seen and loved and worthy. And so for us, we're able to do these amazing fundraising concerts. And I can send you the link to our concert last month that had over 3,000 views online, where we raised over $15,000. And that becomes our lead gen. Inviting our people to our concerts, to our events, to our giving initiatives. That's how we stay in touch. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to lead gen. I do not cold call. No one on my team cold calls. I'll never ask anybody to do that. But what I do provide the team is an opportunity to make a difference in the community and stay in touch with people about that. And the conversation always turns to real estate. It always turns to real estate, right? How's the market? And then you get to talk about that. But we love being able to call and say, hey, we want to drop off goodies for your watch party for the next event. How many people are you expecting? So we can drop that off. Stay in touch with people. They know what we stand for. And we're able to have it be lead gen, but also make it really something that we are proud of and feel like God's really moving through our team in a powerful way through that initiative.
Wow. And I've always said that to be pulled is a lot easier than to have to push, right? And every day agents wake up and come into this business and they buckle up and they're ready for the grind to push, and they do it for years. They do it for decades, right? This simple change to create something outside of yourself that pulls you and then pulls people to you and pulls them with you, alongside of you, not behind you, right? Alongside of you, makes it just that much easier. And this is both psychologically and functionally. So I have one more question on all that, because I'm sure some people, hear about the events and all this. I mean, there's some sarcasm in this next line, but you do all of this just by yourself, right? Like you coordinate all these things.
Oh, sure. There's no way those 25 people. This is so what's great about this is when you're in alignment on a mission and vision standpoint with the people who want to be a part of your organization, they're excited to bring these things to life, right? There's no way I could do this alone. No way, right? But what's so exciting is when people say, I have to be a part of this. How do I help? How do I become a part of this? And then it's beautiful because we're a team of like-hearted people. Now, that's different than like-minded. I appreciate having different lines of thinking, right? I like when we're differently minded. I think we sharpen each other, but we have to be like-hearted. And we're like-hearted as a team, and together the teamwork is what makes all of these events and all of this come to life for sure. It doesn't hurt that I'm married to a Broadway actor who's like the best singer on the planet. So when I throw a concert, he's like crushing it. So let's be real. But that goes back to really thinking about what is your gift, right? Can I say my gift is my husband? Right?
But he would say the same. So
right.
Yeah.
So what is in your world that is a gift that you can harness to do good, both for your clients and for your community? And it's different for all of us. And so I always love to think of it this way, like, what is your superpower, right? What's that thing that you're just innately great at? What do you want to inspire in the world? Like a character trait for me, it's generosity, right? And then where do you feel called to make a difference? Right? There's something happening in the world that you know you can make a difference. And it doesn't have to be a huge music initiative. It could be something that you're doing on your block for a few neighbors, right? But where does your heart break and you know you need to make a difference? When you combine those three things, my superpower is, I guess, leadership in my husband, and we want to inspire generosity. And it broke our heart that there were kids in our school district that did not have equal access to music education. And we just said, not on our watch. We're just not going to stand by and allow that to happen. How do we make a difference? And then our entire community knows that that's what we do and what we stand for. I literally went on a listing appointment 2 days ago. I said, how did you come to call me? They were like, everything you do for the high school and the kids. Of course we called you. Right?
Expecting. Right. It sure beats those for sale by owner calls. So I would say, so philosophically, we've really done a great job of packaging that. Let's boil it down a little bit. Practically,
yeah.
I'm an agent. I have a couple people on my team, right? I'm pushing. I don't have necessarily the wind behind my sails, and I've sat there and I've really thought through what my mission would and could look like, or maybe I'm challenged a little still left in that, but I have a few ideas. What's the next step? Do I have to put this in writing? Do I have to tell everybody about it? What would then be that practical application from your perspective for someone to say, let's go?
Yep. First you set the vision, then you live the vision, right? And then you celebrate the vision. So it's got to be portable, it's got to be repeatable, and you've got to be able to push it all the way through your organization on every level of your organization. So the Care, Serve, Give logo, it shows up on a property brochure, it shows up on social media, it shows up on the website, it shows up on my shirt, right? Like, it's easy to push through. It's not confusing, it's super repeatable, and it's a conversation starter. Right? It's a conversation starter. And then, so you set it, you live it, and then you celebrate it. By celebrating, it means when people on your team, when you catch them doing things that are in line with your mission and vision, you point it out. And when we have our Friday team meetings, we start with bucket filling, just like in Mo's book. If you haven't read A Joy-Filled Life by Mo Anderson, go read that one. And she talks about bucket filling, which is just filling someone else up with compliments. Right. And so if I see an agent go out of their way on our team to help another agent on our team, walk them through writing up an offer, walk them through the questions that they need to ask, and help them, then I'm going to call that out, because that's part of our team care, right? That's how we care for each other and serve each other too. And so I'm going to highlight that in a team meeting. That's just one example. But yeah, set it, live it, and celebrate it is the easiest way to boil that down, I think. And then just from a messaging standpoint, I love this idea that when you're communicating out to the public, your mission and your vision, they need to know, first you start with what do they need to know about you? Why do they need to know it, right? What do they need to do about it? That's the call to action. What do they have to lose if they don't? Like, what's at stake? And then how we can help them remember it. So you just want your messaging to be as clear as possible. And then that not only is from a marketing standpoint, but that's also just a great way to remind people within your organization and have things be really, really clear as you're talking through everything. But just remember, you're all leaders, right? You are a leader at home, you're a leader out in the community, at work, at school, with nieces and nephews or grandchildren. You're a leader everywhere you go. And our job as leaders is to point people to a preferred future, right? And so make it clear so that they know where they're going with you, and they're going to want to be a part of it with you.
This is one of the biggest differences, I feel like, in our organization, right? In comparison to many others, really the celebration of the agent, even the single agent, as a leader, right? And the fact that they truly own their own business. And, a lot of other brokerages, certainly the traditional real estate brokerage, the agent is an agent, right? And they're doing a job. And if they're lucky, the brokerage has passed along the mission to them. So then they're helping fulfill the broker mission. Most of the time, that's not even the case, right? It's a haphazard scramble to generate income and an up and down. In our company, it is really about, hey, you are a business owner at every level, and the ability to be a business owner allows you to, at any level, make the business a reflection of you, right? Exactly. And that creates a completely different path and result. And, unfortunately, I really feel that so many in this industry have not really experienced that. And even if they hear it, maybe it hasn't gone all the way in yet. And it's a game changer. It really is.
Absolutely.
Right? So let me pop two more quick questions out, and then I'd like to open it for questions from our audience here. And if there's no other questions there, I'll certainly continue the conversation. Let's look at the function of the team, right? So your team, cultural, heartbeat is externally driven. What does a normal day look like for the agents on your team?
Well, go back to the beginning when I said I needed a day off, right? So Gary Keller has taught us to time block our vacations first. So we also time block our weeks as a business first. And I ask my agents to take Wednesdays off, do everything they can to take Wednesdays off, because I know that they're going to be working on weekends. And our operations team, they take the weekends off. So I want to start with that you start with making sure that you've got time to take care of yourself and to take care of your family, right? From there, now let's go back to the top of the week. Our week as an organization starts on Monday morning. We're on Zoom at 9 a.m. 5 days a week. There's a different group Zooming in every single day, but we're there together every single day. Monday morning, we spend the first 15 minutes talking about the weekend and how our buyers and sellers, what those conversations look like and how the market's going, who's making offers, and what we think, how we think things have changed in the last 48 hours within the market. Then we do a transactional huddle where we start with our listing pipeline and we talk through updates with all of our sellers. And then we go through everything contract to close. We end that hour-long meeting with a great recap of who we need to be in touch with, who closed a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and what other kinds of to-dos we might need to do. Then we transition, everybody logs off. 10 minutes later, the marketing team logs in. We have an hour-long marketing department production meeting. We talk social media, we talk video, we talk newsletters, we talk weather. Today, we talked all about the snow that's coming and how are we getting enough boot racks and towels to our vacant listings for all of our open houses this weekend, right? So we have that marketing meeting. And then we break and everybody goes to work for the day. Tuesday morning, half-hour optional transactional huddle. Log on if you need us. If you don't show up, we expect you to be out taking care of people and being in touch with people and taking care of yourself as well. Wednesday morning, we have an ops team meeting at 8:30 a.m. They go over what's happening with our systems and our tools that constantly we want to make better. Yes, we're number one for Maplewood South Orange, but we're never going to just assume that we'll stay number one. So we're constantly looking at how do we make it better. Then at 9:30 a.m., we have team yoga. Everyone on the team, I give a yoga class on Wednesdays. Now remember, that's the agent's days off, so I don't mind giving them free yoga on their day off. And I make sure that the operation team can transition from that meeting into our yoga class if they would like. Then Thursday, we have another transaction huddle at 9 a.m. We just make sure all of our clients have what they need and our agents have the support that they need. And then Friday morning, we have a 9 a.m. full team meeting that's bucket filling, celebrating birthdays, inspiration, learning, and gearing up for the weekend. And then our agents go out and crush it for the weekend at all of the open houses and with clients, and our ops team take a breath. That's our week.
That's awesome. And I don't want that to seem overwhelming to people plugging in who are early on this journey, right? Because it's all a step-by-step growth process, right?
For years, we had one meeting on Friday or every 2 weeks on Friday where we got together in the office and we just drank coffee and hung out. Like, I mean, yeah. So much of what you just heard was born out of necessity in COVID, right? We never Zoomed before COVID. Never. I mean, I downloaded it for the first time when COVID hit, probably. So yeah, don't let it overwhelm you, because that's 2 years ago and I've been doing this for 17 years. It takes time. It is a process and a journey.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, by implementing those things, you reach a point where adding these things one at a time make your life easier, right? Yes. Not harder. Yeah. So if somebody has no team and they're like, okay, I'm going to do huddle up and I'm going to do all these things. I watch a lot of agents try to spread themselves so thin in the team building process, and they don't have the support behind them to effectively do that. So then they do exactly what I said. They spread themselves too thin, right? So we have to be super focused in the areas where we're most effective there. So that being said, depending on, I believe your relationship, to buyer, seller, et cetera. I think for the most part, we could put you in the category of level 7, or at least what I would call job optional in that agent seat, right? Where you're deciding whether you want to do it or not for that given client or day. What does the role look like for you now at this point in your career, having built out the system that you have? Right? Having it grow, having these pieces in place every day. Outside of the yoga class on Wednesday, what does this look like for you, right? What does your day-to-day look like? Because I'm going to assume it's a lot different, but it's also a lot easier than the single agent. And by easier, I mean not so many things, not easier as, not as hard from a difficulty perspective, but let's hear it.
Right. So I'm on most of those Zooms. I no longer am on the operations admin team meeting Zoom on Wednesdays. So I am more and more giving myself most of Wednesday as a self-care kind of day. But what I've really done lately is leaned even more and more into what my gifting is, making sure that I don't experience burnout. I need to be sure that I'm doing the things that I enjoy. Right. And so I recently did a new behavioral assessment called The Working Genius, and I highly recommend it. It's by Patrick Lencioni. He wrote The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. This is the latest tool, and it's a brilliant view into how each of us are a genius, because every one of us is. And then making sure that my daily activities give me sections of time where I get to do the thing that I'm a genius at. Turns out I have the genius of creativity. I knew that, but it was really nice for the assessment to come back and tell me, because now I'm like, well, that's what I have to spend all my time on. So I actually am in the process of changing my title to founder and creative director, because it feels more congruous with who I am. And then I time block my day around creative activities. And then you're right, I like job optional. We have a culture of a team as everybody does whatever it takes, whenever it's needed. And so when we're able to focus on our genius and have that be our one thing, that's great. And yet there's going to be times in the market where everybody has to do everything. And so there are times like early in COVID, and honestly right now with low inventory, where I step back in as the lead listing agent to be sure that everything is operating at the highest level that it needs to. And honestly, for me to drive as much revenue to the bottom line of the organization as possible, right? And that helps me from a financial standpoint to weather these storms. But I like that you said it's job optional, because as soon as I see that our numbers are where they need to be, every listing appointment goes to another agent. Everything gets handed out. But I every day I focus on something creative. I put out a twice a year magazine now that really promotes our mission and vision to the community. It goes to 16,000 homes in our community twice a year. And I love it. I get to think of like beautiful stories and imagery and build a magazine because it's good for business, but it's good for my soul. It's what I want to do. So pollockjournal.com, if you want to read the most recent one. The next one comes out in 6 weeks. And then I'm very time blocked for the service for my clients. For all of these years, I'm time blocked every single Friday to call my seller clients every single Friday. And here's the script. Hey, it's Vanessa. I just calling to check in. How you holding up? That's it. And let them talk. How are you holding up? This is such an emotional thing for a seller. They will then tell you what's going on in their head, heart, or mind, and then you can come in and provide the service that they need. So that's earlier in the day, every single Friday, so that then if there are fires to put out, we've got the time during the rest of Friday to take care of them and their needs and what might need to be taken care of there. So yeah, that's kind of how I can say my week is shaped. Those Zooms, the yoga, creative time, and always being on the phone with our sellers.
And I'll second that. That last piece saves more stress than you could ever imagine. This is something I have done for probably a decade, and I used to do it on Fridays too. I then moved it to Thursdays just because I switched around my calendar a little for Fridays. But those calls to connect give the sellers such a sense of comfort. And we do buyers on Tuesdays, right? It's such a sense of comfort that the phone doesn't ring then on the weekends and say, hey, how come nobody's coming? How come it just?
And that's why I do it on Friday.
Yeah.
Get you a little Friday. Then it's like, I know that they're good before the weekend. And then I get to, my phone's quiet. My phone does not ring anymore. It doesn't ring. And it's because we're getting in front of the questions and the concerns.
Right.
And so being really intentional and proactive about talking to your people and answering their questions is a huge part of our service.
Love it. Love it. Well, I'm going to pivot here to questions. So I'm going to ask that all of our guests, any of our guests, please put your questions here over on the comments section. I did have Kristen a little earlier ask if we can get a breakdown of the 135, which you had later provided. So we do have that particular piece in place. While I wait to see here if any questions or communications come in, I'll take it another step then. We were recently in the same room, we were sitting next to each other, right? And Gary's the top 200 mastermind. And it is funny how consistent this message could be, where his echo to the people in that room was, even in your own finances, like this is how finite we can drill this down. You and your family, or if it's just you, should have a mission there, right? Like what is your personal money going to do? What purpose is that going to serve? And just as the business has that purpose, so does your personal finances. And then that creates, again, a pull in that area as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think here we've all heard Gary talk about give $1 million, right? And I'm a real big picture thinker, but I don't know that I'm ever going to build a team that gives away $1 million. But I do know that for me, I can harness the power of our KW family from a giving standpoint and where I choose to give personally. And I know that if every single KW agent on each transaction, and this is just production based, right? I'm not asking anybody to give if they're not making something. Give $25 to KW Cares and give $25 to the client's charity of choice. Right? So a $50 donation to the two. One is internal giving to our KW family, and one is bettering the world. If we did that, we as a KW family would be giving back over $50 million a year, which would be give $1 million every single week.
Wow.
Right? So for me, like that commitment, they don't have to be big numbers from each of us individually. If we all give a little, then we get to give a lot together. So for me, it's a personal commitment as well as within our team. Agents know if you have a closing, that checklist better on that market center checklist better say KW Cares on it. And then I'm giving to the client's charity of choice as well. But then you're right. The personal giving piece of it, like that doesn't show up in the marketing plan and, the marketing numbers and stuff, what we're each doing individually to our houses of worship. And I think it's the most important part, because if you can't give without people knowing about it, then you're going to feel like a fraud going out and giving back from a marketing standpoint. I mean, I don't know. So really,
Pete, what a setup to your comment, right? So Pete said, how do you balance giving back and letting people know that you're giving back without making it seem like you're giving back to gain additional business, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any tips on just how you keep that genuine without it seeming like a kind of a sales cycle?
Yeah, well, part of why we're really clear that our giving is a collective effort with our community, right? If you remember the concert that we do for our music initiative, I said we raised $15,000. Now, I could have written the check for $15,000 to have the music initiative keep going, but my goal here is to inspire generosity in our community. So I want to be sure that people understand that we're doing this together. And it's that simple difference of wording that people feel like they're a part of it with you. They want the update if they were part of the giving that got you to that number, right? Rather than saying, look what I did, it's look what we did. And then it really, and yeah, it just, the music initiative is a really special thing that we don't do for business. And yet it definitely keeps us top of mind with people, and people are part of that tribe that like want to come together and do that with us every year. And so it doesn't feel like bragging because it's a collective effort, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, perfectly put. I'll hit this departing topic, and then guys, when I'm done, I know we've had a really nice audience here today. Everybody stayed attentive and plugged in. I am going to ask you to give some thank yous to Vanessa here in the chat box when we wrap up. As our initial parting message, because I'm going to ask you to give a parting message as well. As our initial parting message, can you just explain to me? You gave me a breakdown once of the heat, the wax, the flame, right? Like just breaking that up, because quite often we don't separate those things when trying to understand the culture. Can you just
yeah well, I think what we were talking about is there's things in our organization like Red Day, and gosh, I love Red Day. If you don't know what Red Day is, it's our annual day of service where we all go out globally and do an act of service for the day as a company. What's so interesting about Red Day is a lot of people say, well, Red Day is our culture. And I actually was talking to Mo about this just the other day. She was like, Red Day is not our culture. Red Day is the result of our culture. And so then the visual that I have with that is a candle, right? Red Day is the heat that we feel. That's the result off of the candle. But what is the wax? What is the wick? And what is the flame that lights you up, right? Because then the result will come. And so I just really think that figuring out your mission and vision, your wax and your wick, that's going to light you up every day. That is going to make it easier to negotiate yet another home inspection request. Like we're all like, really, I got to talk about a failing roof one more time. Yeah. When you know the mission and vision behind your business, you'll absolutely do it. And it will give you the fire that you need for that day. And then the result off of that becomes things like Red Day, like the music initiative, like the other ways that you're able to give back. The other thing we talked about, Bill, the other analogy is people sometimes say, oh, culture's just, that's like the squishy stuff. That's like sprinkles, right? And so the thing about it is, imagine if you had a bowl of sprinkles Like you can't actually eat them. They're falling everywhere. It's messy, right? You need to slow down and bake the cake, right? Put in the flour, put in the ingredients that are necessary to bake the cake. Then you get to do icing. And then when you put the sprinkles on it, they stick, right? It sticks and it makes it even that much more delicious and that much more beautiful. But if you haven't baked the cake, then they're just going to go all over the counter and you can't keep a hold of it. So really go back to the foundational pieces here. Like take the 6 personal perspectives, that class, so that you can start figuring out the best version of yourself as well as Quantum Leap. Then dive into the Y4C2Ts, right? If you don't know what that word is, then I'm so excited you do now, right? It is the belief system of Keller Williams. And here, I'll show it to you because I have it. The Y4C2Ts. If you don't know that, it's win-win or no deal, integrity, do the right thing, customers always come first, commitment in all things, communication, seek first to understand, creativity, ideas before results, teamwork, together everyone achieves more, trust, starts with honesty, equity, opportunities for all, and success results through people, right? So you start with the foundational pieces in your cake, 6 personal perspectives, Quantum Leap, add in the icing of the Y4C2Ts, and then you'll get to have the benefit of this beautiful cake that you can then decide, what do you want written on your cake? What do you want to be known for? What do you want those sprinkles to be? But go back and start with those foundational pieces.
Sounds like magic when you look at the big picture, but if you put those pieces in place, right, it's almost a guaranteed recipe. They're not all going to look the same. In fact, because we're all very different, they're all going to look very different, but magic nonetheless realized, right? So,
well, and I love that you say that, because think about a diamond, right? There's thousands of facets in a diamond. They're all different angles, but they all come together to make this beautiful gem. KW is a diamond, and it needs every single one of us to have our own unique edge as a facet to come together and shine like that. So it better look different in each one of us, because God's wired each one of us up so differently and placed a different call on every single one of our lives. Now, that said, my parting message is, if you want to adopt the Care, Serve, Give way and start hashtagging everything with that and follow that 135, like, let's do it. That's not just mine. I feel like I would love for anyone who wants to be a part of that to join me on that mission. But yeah, it'll manifest in a different way for every single one of us.
Awesome. Vanessa, thank you so much for your time here today. You have given us a ton of your energy, and hopefully in return, we'll ask you before you sign off to read through some of the messages. I've seen a lot coming in. If there's anybody else on here you want to give Vanessa a departing message, please feel free to give her some of that energy back from us. Help inspire her for inspiring us. Vanessa, thank you so much for your time, as always.
I need some cake too, Maria. I like chocolate cake. I don't know about you. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, like I said at the top of the hour, it really means a lot to me that you'd start off the year thinking this way, being so learning based, and really, I think a lot of people go, oh, it's not like a lead gen title, I don't need to take it. But truly, like, this creates an opportunity for you to build a business bigger than you could have ever imagined. I had no idea how this would develop for me, for my family, for this team. And it's an honor. And I'm so thrilled that you tuned in just to hear about it. And what I would love is, in the last minute, what's one thing you're going to go implement? Remember, I asked you at the top, what's one thing you're going to go implement? Is it closing for a cause? Is it Care, Serve, Give 135? Is it faith first? Whatever that may be. That's kind of what I'd love to see in the chat. Closing for cause. Love it. Care, Serve, Give on the wall in my new office. I love it. I'll send you the logo. Email me.
Thank you.
Community. Yes. Love it. Love it. That makes my day. Faith first. Amen. That's awesome. So good. Yay. Love you, Laura. Thanks again, you guys.
All right.
So appreciate you being here.
Thanks again. You too. Bless 2022. Go get them. All
Yep.
right.